3 sharp. The rest of us, we can mute ourselves.
Okay. Hello, guys. How are you doing? I wonder if we should give people a few more minutes to join. Otherwise, we should be starting now. Let's allow 1 minute and then we begin at exactly 2 minutes past 3. Okay, good afternoon and welcome to this webinar. It's an honor to be hosting the last webinar of the year. And immediately after this, we'll be diving straight into the festivities. So as BNI, we've been holding these webinars ever since we got into lockdown. And we've had so far, and these are webinars in relation to our core values. We've had 6 so far, so this being the 7th as one of the core values that we have. BNI is built on a set of guiding principles, and of these we create the foundation on which members interact with themselves, the way they conduct business, and how they fulfill their goals in general. And our core values are givers gain, building relationships, lifelong learning, traditions and innovations, positive attitude, accountability, and the one we're going through today, recognition. So welcome. Just to let you know what BNI is, you could go to the next slide for me, Jude. So BNI is the largest and most successful referral networking organization in the world. BNI in full is Business Network International, and that's for those who don't know. So BNI is the largest with over 270,000 global members, with at least 9,500 chapters running. We have over 2.2 million members referrals. So we are built on referrals we mentioned earlier, with over 16.7 billion in dollars in cash generated for members. BNI Uganda specifically has 45 members and counting. Every week we keep growing with 5 chapters, and I preside over the newest chapter in BNI, and we have an average size of at least 40 members per chapter. We are in one region and one city, Kampala, and in just 12 months, BNI Uganda has had $4 million worth of business. We've also had in the same 1 year, 8,132 referrals amongst BNI members. So there's really a lot of referral marketing within BNI and opportunity to grow our businesses. Our vision as BNI is to change the way the world does business. Our mission is simple. It's to help members increase their businesses through a structured, positive, and professional referral marketing program that enables them to develop long-term, meaningful relationships with quality business professionals. So that is our mission and our vision. Welcome once again to this webinar. My name is Roy Ronald Tumwizere. I am a member of BNI Inspire, which is the newest chapter within BNI, and I am the president. And the business that I run personally is called Kenji's Mojo Bar Services. We are a drinks delivery and drink service business. And now I would like us to welcome our speakers, our panelists that will be joining us through this 1.5 hours that we're going to go through recognition as the last value, core value that we'll be looking at this year for BNI in general. So starting with, and I'll call out their names and share a short bio on them. So starting with Christine Mugume. Christine Mugume comes from Extreme Hygiene Solutions, and that is a commercial and domestic cleaning business. She is an ACCA fellow. She has over 20 years of professional experience in tax advisory and compliance services, audit assurance, training, and consultancy services. She's worked with URA, Uganda Revenue Authority, for 6 years, where she's trained as a tax assessor, and then worked in PKF Consulting for 5 years as an audit and tax manager. She also worked with PricewaterhouseCoopers as a senior manager, where she was a champion of transfer pricing and led transfer pricing documentation for various Ugandan companies. In addition, Christine is an author of a tax book on the market titled Managing Taxation in Uganda. She's also a part-time lecturer for taxation papers in different colleges, including UMI, MAT, MOOBS, and Zenith College. Currently, she runs an audit firm, CMK and Company, and is the managing director of Extreme Hygiene Solutions Uganda. Christine is married with 5 children, loves cows and goats, loves gardening, traveling, and participating in church activities. Just so you know, she is also an Alongo. Christine, you are most welcome. I would also like to introduce, thank you, Christine. I'd like to introduce Jude Chigozi. Jude Chigozi, who runs Luke Solar Limited. He is the managing director of Luke Solar Limited, located in Chitekita, 7 miles off Gayaza Road. He's been in business for over 5 years. He's a chief accountant. He was a chief accountant at Kampala Hospital and a cost accountant as well at Ansambia Hospital. So he's really the man for the numbers. Jude is married with 2 boys and 1 girl. He has no animals, this man, but he likes swimming, watching comedy and adventurous movies. He likes charity walks. Some of his interests are upbuilding, developing accounting programs and business systems, as well as doing a lot more work within the charity fields. His burning desire is to develop local solutions using local resources in order to become the next big social entrepreneur. And he says that these are his key words to success: work smart with business intelligence and smart business models. You are most welcome, Jude. We also
thank you very much. Thank you, Roy. I didn't know it was me you were talking about.
We also have with us another gentleman, Nuwajira Asaf, who is the CEO of Fenmark Building Solutions Limited. It is a construction company and they deal a lot with civil engineering and project management. They are located in Namugongo, have been in existence for over 8 years. They've done a lot of work with different agencies like Nsubuga, J.E. Nsubuga and Associates, where they had design work for them. They've worked with grid technology and they've done civil works for them, M&E engineering. They've done work with National Water and Sewage Corporation under hydraulics. They've done work for Orange and Warid under telecom masts. And they've also done a lot of work in Rwanda and Burundi in regards to recreation centers. Asaf is married with 3 children. He loves dogs. He has 4 dogs. One of his hobbies are traveling, music and dance, and making new friends. And he says that one of the activities he has of interest is to impact all his teams with the knowledge he has. I mean, a man who has been in business for 8 years has a lot that he has to share. His burning desire is to see clients in the construction industry get value for money. Something we may not know about him is he actually survived an almost plane crash. So this man through a lot and knows a lot. His key to success, he says, is work smart, timely execution, trust, and have competence. You are most welcome, Asaf.
Thanks so much, Roy. I didn't know I had all that on my bio. Thank you.
Fantastic. And lastly, but not least, the one person, the reason that we exist in Uganda, our national director, Diana Ninsima Chibuka. Diana is a corporate tax and project finance expert with 12 years experience in private legal sector. She's currently a partner at Mukumbia Musoke Advocates, a firm that specializes in corporate and project finance. Diana currently sits on a board of a regulated financial institution and of an agriculture non-profit organization, which is part of a regional body present in over 11 African countries. As a result of her passion for creating meaningful and commercially effective connections among business owners, Diana introduced Business Network International, BNI, in Uganda in 2015. And through BNI, she has supported local business owners in building relationships through which they generate business referrals. To date, BNI Uganda has created a platform through which over 100 local business owners have passed and received business referrals, amounting to over 27 billion in the past 5 years. She holds a Master's of Law from the University of Cambridge and a Bachelor's of Law from Makerere University, Kampala, as well as a diploma in taxation. She was recently named among Uganda's top 40 under 40. She's a member of the CDC Africa List Working Group for Uganda. Diana is an adventurer and has summited Mount Kilimanjaro. She is a wife and a mother of 2 sons. Diana, you are most welcome to the webinar. Great, and now we would like to get straight into our webinar. And now I have a few questions that I would like to ask the panelists. And in case you have any questions, those listening in, if you are on Zoom with us, please feel free to use the Q&A column down there. Ask your questions, and at the end of the webinar, we will share, we'll read out the questions and have our panelists answer them. Also, if you are watching us from Facebook, please put your questions up on Facebook. We will pick them from there and read them out as well and answer them. Fantastic. Now it's time to dig straight into our webinar. And I have a question, and I'll start with Christine. Today we are talking about recognition, one of the core values, one of the 7 core values of BNI. I wanted to know, to you, Christine, what does this value mean to you, both personally and professionally?
Thank you, Roy. Thank you for giving me an opportunity, the first opportunity to speak. Personally, I think recognition, I take it very importantly. It is a very, very important thing in life because it can build you, it can make you what you are, or it can destroy you. Personally, I'll share my personal experience. When I was growing up, my dad liked me or loved me. I used to perform well in class. And he used to praise me in front of everyone, my siblings. Every time I ask for anything, and you know the village life, things are really not the provisions, the school fees, the books. Every time I would ask for anything, he would give it to me, says, at least for her, you others, even if you don't get, at least for her, she needs to, because she performs well. And he used to have issues with my mom. My mom, he used to not to do it the right way, saying it anyway. And of course, it created conflict between my siblings. My mother would be complaining, why are you selective? Why are you talking like that? You're going to cause confusion. Children, they're going to start hating her. But to me, it created something in me because he loved me and I didn't want to disappoint him. At any one time, whenever I would be reading, I would be like, I don't want to disappoint my dad. And that helped me to really perform well all through. And even then, to be honest with you, I became the first, I'm the 4th born, but I was the first child of my father to go to the university. Others went through, like, colleges, like then they join on maturity stages. So to me, that was really motivating. And from that, in fact, personally, I also learned to speak it out because I have realized the power of word, recognizing, praising someone. I have used it with my children. When there are visitors, people are there, I mention what is good with them. And one of the things that have hooked them is saying, I have good children. I've not had issues with my children. They are all now teenagers. I've never gone through it. When they are all listening. And truly, to be honest with you, I've not had any issues with my children. Probably it's one of the things they don't want to disappoint because I always mention anything that is good they have done. If they are relatives, I'll say it. If they are friends, they are visitors, whatever opportunity I get. Why? Because it worked for me. I did not want to disappoint my father. And therefore, when I mention it to my children, it is powerful. It kind of locks them to not to disappoint their parents. So to me, recognition of anything good that someone has done or celebrating achievements it is very, very important. You don't know what it can create in someone's mind. There and then you might not know, but it builds something in someone's mind. Professionally, recognition helped me to get where I am. Ask me how. Like you mentioned in your introduction, I'm an SCCA fellow, and therefore I'm a professional accountant or chartered accountant. But where I was working with PKF, they used to recognize me and give me opportunities to go and present. And I developed confidence. I was from government, but they would give me, they said, you can do it, you can do it. They would encourage me. And in the process, I ended up even writing a book. And when I wrote that book, first of all, I went sharing what I knew. Then I ended up writing a book. And then the Law Society, without my knowledge, out of nowhere, I'm there, they're inviting me, you are the guest of honor, we are recognizing you for contribution to the society, rather Law Society. I said, but this is taxation. I said, but it's the interpretation of the law, taxation law. And there was a whole dinner where I was called and recognized. In fact, I set up the recognition in 20, this is the recognition, in 2016. Now, from that time, you need to know what happened. I said, so you mean I am this good? So you mean the lawyers, you know how the land friends, they can call themselves. So you mean even the lawyers can recognize my, and from that time, I said, now I need to make it better. So come after, like that was 2006, then 2014, I had to rewrite a new, like second edition of the book. And I offloaded professional, whatever knowledge I had picked from PwC, PKF, URA, I put everything. So I produced a book of over 740-page document, which book is being used by universities, lecturers, URA, all law firms. They're always calling me, where is your book? Where is your book? So to me, that was from the recognition by the Law Society. I realized my work was good because me, at first it was just sharing and students using it. Little did I know. But out of that recognition, it became something different. From that same book, and of course, lecturing, participating at the institute, being a committee member of technical teams at the Institute of Certified Public Accountants. In 2015, they decided to recognize, to start something that they want to recognize the best accountant of the year. And we are over 3,000, probably now 4,000 accountants in the country. And they will do the nomination online. And guess who was the first to be nominated? Christine Mugumye. Contribution to the profession. Why? That recognition. So it became so big. So to me, I think recognition, if maybe Law Society had not recognized me, maybe I wouldn't have developed it to that level. So to me, recognition is very, very important. And I support it and I do it so much. And maybe as we move along, we shall be sharing. Thank you.
Fantastic. That's a great story of recognition. I like that you made it clear recognition builds you. And through your interaction with us, we've seen how it built you both personally with your children and how well they're growing up to be, and yourself as a business. And to the extent of writing books, we're really proud of you, Christine. I would like to throw the same question to Asaf. Asaf, very quickly, just share, what does recognition mean to you personally and professionally?
Thank you so much, Roy. And of course, to me, some of the things that Christine talked about emptied what I wanted to say. But nonetheless, you know, recognition to me means really giving positive feedback based on results and performance. Take an example in my area of operation as an engineer. Once you come to a site and work has been done properly, and then you start to recognize, you know, performance and the result, especially where we need to beat up deadlines on projects, and you find work has been timely and excellently executed. That is where recognition steps in. But to the contrary, you know, there are limits, you know, because sometimes we base it on performance and other times it is conditional. When workers don't perform, sometimes I recognize them. And out of that, they pull up themselves. They say, oh, even when I'm not performing, I have been recognized. So next time, let me do much better. To my profession, you've heard a saying that goes like, you know, I will motivate my team. You've heard a saying also, instead of motivating them, you create that environment that helps the team to motivate themselves by recognition, you know, like the ARIA example I gave. So you create that kind of environment that helps the team motivate themselves. You know, like the story Christians talked about in 2014, just an ambassador phoned me at work and just was so interested in what I was doing on my screen. So he just picked my card. The next Friday, he calls me, he chartered a plane, flew me outside of Uganda, went and did a tremendous job for his project, a recreation center. And, you know, he recognized me in front of so many dignitaries, and that opened up really much business in terms of my profession. So recognition is a trigger. It's a motivational trigger. It moves things into a direction that you never expected. Yeah. Thank you so much, Roy. We'll share more.
Fantastic. Thank you, Asaf. I like that the first statement you mentioned is recognition is positive feedback. And now I'd like to throw that to you, Jude. What's the impact of positive feedback created in your professional life? What's been the impact of positive feedback?
Well, Roy, thank you very much. And thank you, those who are attending, for sparing time to be with us. Thank you, Roy, and the panelists. I'm excited to be on the panel with you. You're most welcome. Roy, I will just ask you a question because I've been listening carefully to the rest of the presenters. I had Chris talk about how recognition builds her. I think, Chris, we have that in common. And also have a story from my mother, which I want to share. But Roy, to answer you, what does recognition mean to me? I want to ask you, what is success to you? If you can tell me, then I can tell you what it means to me. Now, okay. So Roy, you are not admitting, but success to me is me being busy. You want to attempt it? Okay, go ahead.
I'm now going to pick yours. Surely success to me is the ability to achieve way and above.
Okay, yeah, that's true. We're all working to be successful. So success to me is like I've heard from everyone else, is to be recognized. I want to be so busy that I don't notice that I'm successful until someone can say, oh man, congratulations, you've done well here. Congratulations, this is going well, you know. Such stuff really builds me, okay? So what does this core value mean to me? I can tell you on a personal, I also tell you, like you asked on a professional side, but on a personal, I've just realized now that I have it as a core value in my day-to-day activity, that it has built me as well, similarly to what Krishna just shared. I remember those days when my mama used to say, you know, Jude, I want to quit and, you know, say I can't do this subject, let me stop and let me not do it. Okay, let me quit this school, things are too tight. And she's like, if you want to quit, it's okay. Okay, because I know you have a strength inside of you. If you put your mind on something, it's the right thing, you do it. Okay. So that recognition of that potential inside of me really builds me and defines success on a personal for me. Okay. So I love it when I can borrow that DNA from her and I can be able to identify something good about someone and tell them. Okay. And I've learned on a day-to-day to put recognition as a practice in my day-to-day activity. You know, there are so many things I like about you, Roy, right now. I like your voice. I like how you articulate words. I think you're a very good orator, better than Obama. So those are good things I've learned to pick very fast once I interact with someone. So that's what it means to me on a personal. And surprisingly, it is working. It really works, you know, because I'm able to pick out those quick things about people. And I can tell you, I've learned uh, from the best to do it. Because there are people who surprise me when they pick up things about me, and I'm like, okay, is that really me? And that really helps me. It's more than money for me. You know, I can sleep, I can spend the whole night without working on something just because someone said out a good strength about me, a good character, a good attribute about what I do, and point it out. So that is recognition for me. Okay. So how does it impact? It's never too late for me to impact lives. I can tell you my past story. I used to work as a cost accountant somewhere in a hospital, and I used to struggle a lot for 4 years, struggling because I want to do things on my own, and things were not working. I was not getting people helping me. You know, like I like building, like you said in my bio, I like building systems. So I could at one time I had to sit on a system and build it, but I was putting in a lot of energy and everyone could go back home. I stay in office late. Like I'm wondering, why are they not excited to come on and also, carry their weight? Only to realize later after 4 years that I just missed a few things, like saying thank you, well done, you've done this well, So for the entire career of that whole period, I was struggling, not knowing that, okay, picking out just a small things about how someone has contributed to a project or an activity can really help. But as I advanced, and also once I got into BNI, I need to mention, I found now recognition as a value. The moment I entered BNI, I just did the normal things I thought were normal, like inviting visitors in the room, and I got a certificate, and I was like, wow. She just as a certificate. I was like, wow, certificate. So that really energized me and fueled up my energy to work the system. And to me, it was a well thought value in BNI. I've been able to grow through, I can say, the ranks of BNI because of that drive, and it really works. But I can also say that it is something you can nurture and build, because I've also learned from the best to do it. I've learned from BNI to do it. And my life is easy. I can motivate my people in my day-to-day work. I work with a team of around 20 women up country who are trying to push our projects. I sit here and things get done just by recognizing their contribution to the projects which we carry out. And I can tell you it's really good. I don't want to spend to answer the question, spend the entire webinar answering it, but I find it very passionate. I'm really passionate about responding. Over to you, Roy. I hope that answers.
Wow, that was a very elaborated answer. We appreciate that. And through it, you ended up recognizing me. Wow. I think that's how all answers should go from now on. But that's very interesting. And it brings me to Diana, a person that started BNI in Uganda from one person being yourself to over 140 people. I'm sure there is a story behind there around recognition and how you used it to keep growing BNI. Would you like to share, Diana? Kindly unmute, Diana. Sorry, Diana, kindly unmute. Diana, we cannot hear you. Please unmute.
I think she's already unmute. You just have to restart it. You can come back to her to restart the phone.
Okay. Or she has to restart, huh? Okay. Diana, kindly restart. We'll get back to you on that question, because it's very important to hear that journey of how you moved from 1 to over 140 people using the power of recognition. Now, I would like to throw this to Asaf. They say recognition is the attitude of gratitude. Is it only within us, or can we nurture that attitude?
Yeah, thanks so much, Roy. Of course, the attitude for gratitude, means taking a habit, making it a habit to express thankfulness, and, appreciate in every part of your life, both, in bigger sums, in small sums, things like that. If you never appreciate, if you never become thankful at one point, then, recognition might be so far away from you. If you concentrate, you've heard that saying that if you concentrate on what you have, you will always have more. So if your attitude of gratitude is really high and you concentrate on it, you'll always have more of that. But if you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never have enough. So really, I may conclude and say that, the feeling of joyfulness and thankfulness, being so happy, is an ongoing basis, is something that is so ongoing. You can't stop it. You can nurture it, and everyone can nurture it. Because, in our daily lives, with children, with workmates, with our bosses, something that you nurture, something that you concentrate on, it grows, and it becomes more bigger and bigger in volumes. Take an example, before I came in here, I just met someone who was trying to challenge me with this dance of Jerusalem. So we started performing. And that was a big challenge to me because I love dancing, but his strokes were really too big for me. But I encouraged myself. I said, no, I think next time I'll perform better. So something that you concentrate on, it will always become bigger and better. So recognition can be nurtured. You can nurture it in your children to say thank you, to say even sorry, to say even I love you, to start nurturing it from when they are still very little. And I believe it's not just about BNI or any other organization. It can be nurtured and it can grow. Yeah, thank you.
Well elaborated, Asaf, well elaborated. You said we must be thankful and it can be nurtured. And I see it in everyday life, in the way we take care of our children and the different things we do. We have an opportunity to be thankful and share that with people around us. Fantastically put, Asaf. Christine, over to you. Is it nature, or is it something that you're born with?
Yeah, it's both. It's both. Like it is stated, the attitude of gratitude. Attitude means the way someone perceives things, either positively or negatively. And to me, I think it all depends. Sometimes I think most times, if not most times, depends on the background. One, how you are brought up. If you are brought up, say for example, where you wake up and people don't greet in the morning, they will not do it. If you're brought up in places where they are not loving, you're not going to give love which was never put in you. If you're brought up in places where people really are grateful, like in Baganda, if I may use an example of Buganda and Bachiga. I'm sorry if there's any Mchiga, it's not meant to offend anybody, but they're rough. They are not so grateful or, you know, purposefully thankful. They take things easy, but the bagana say, you know, like the way they put in even the action, and to me, with that, it becomes part of you as you grow up. It becomes part of you, where someone, you feel guilty if you don't say thank you. You're like, how can someone do such a thing? And it bothers me. You give someone something and you see they're not bothered to say thank you. Not that really I want it, so, but it bothers me, as in, what type of human being is this who cannot say thank you? So it grows. It comes from the background, it grows, and it becomes a culture. And again, it can be nurtured. Again, all of us have different backgrounds. Say, for example, we all joined BNI. We have different backgrounds. But when you get to be exposed to something and you learn it's a good thing, you put in efforts to nurture it. Say, for example, in BNI, when they start recognizing you, when even on chats, small thing, nice presentation, or they are grateful, oh, thank you, this was nice, you realize it's a good thing, so you purpose. I'll share my experience with my company, because I'm a grateful person, because my dad used to be so grateful. He's since anyway passed on, to the extent that even when your child, he's going to ask for something, he will quite all and say, you know what, I know, Christine, you have issues, you have your home, you have everything, but you see now I have this issue. And when you do it, he's like, he's all over. He said, thank you so much, God bless you, he prays for you. Others take it for granted, like children are supposed to provide, you understand? But someone with a grateful heart will always appreciate you. How do we nurture this? Say, for example, in extreme hygiene, we have end of year parties where we recognize staff. That alone, end of year party. You know, my business, we clean and we use casuals. It's not a type of caliber on Zoom and all that. We are over 300. And the people who earn maybe between 200,000, 150, 300, 700, max, you know, like that. But this end of year party, I always felt like, how can someone be in the field working, and they are the ones who are working, cleaning and making the money? I don't have much to do for them. I said, at least the end of year party, to get us together, different sites, and we would do it. And before, in fact, when it was the early years, I didn't have enough money. What I used to do, I would get up early with my children, because it would be a whole day's event. We do homemade sandwiches. I do boiled eggs. I do, you know, like meketo, you know, like hard corn with peanuts, hot dogs, daddies, and I put in buckets. And then I only order for food and drinks, because I didn't have enough money. So these ones homemade would be for breakfast. And my children would go with them, and they are serving these people. It was great. They would talk about it. They would do everything. So it became a culture. We purposed, we nurtured it, and we would give presents and stuff. You don't know how much it will be. It's extreme hygiene. We pay on time. And to me, that is really something that you can nurture, and it has become a culture to the extent that today, if you don't do end of year party, they are demanding. And you need to know this time around, I told them, we have no money, COVID, you know, some projects were cut down and all that. And some of them went ahead in their respective sites and made their own parties. Why? It's something that has been nurtured. They are grateful to their colleagues. They did cake cutting, and they ordered for some good food. Of course, we contribute for them a little here and there. So to me, it can be nurtured, and it can be a culture, and it's something that you can pass on in a home, in a company, generation after generation. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. You've said it's both. Some people are grown, are brought up experiencing recognition in their families. Some along the way pick it up, learn it, and give it to others. And that was well presented. I also go back to a time where whenever I was being employed, I would personally, intentionally share with my bosses that if you say thank you, trust me, I'll deliver 3 times more. And they would wonder, how bold are you? But I just thought they need to know to help me in that journey of growing. Jude, what do you say about that?
Well, I can say the same thing, but I'm in agreement with Christine. I've been nurtured. Okay, I've been educated. I've learned from the best, like I told you. Like I learned from Dr. Ivan Meisner that culture eats strategy for breakfast. Okay, so that one takes me back to culture a bit to tell you that you can maybe have it in your DNA to recognize. Like I've seen people who are just naturally doing it. Then I say it every now and then, and I'm like, wow, you everything. Thank you, you've done well. I'm like, okay, but it drives people. It drives me. It excites me. I can say my mom is also to nurture us to do the same. I was very stubborn. I wasn't a very good person, so maybe she was trying to nurture. But I think in her DNA, she was good. So I've learned maybe after quite some time that I have to activate what is within my DNA, what she gave me, and then I can be trained a little bit more and do it. For example, I can tell you a secret I learned again also from BNI, from Dr. Ivan Meisner. He said that, do you want to know the secret for motivating people? Roy and the team here, do you want to know? Say yes if you want to know, Roy. Yes, if you want to know, the secret is, there's actually no secret. The thing is, you just have to let the people motivate themselves and just create an environment where they can motivate themselves and recognize them. Okay. So so once you create that environment of celebrating performance achievements, the smallest achievements, then you can be able to nurture and create a motivation around. So I'm just quoting all the things to show you that yes, it can be inborn because Christine used very good examples. Some people maybe have been doing it for quite some time and it's their culture, it's their what, so they carry on with the culture. But also it can be nurtured. Some of us have learned the hard way that we have to recognize, okay, pick out these small things and celebrate them. It can be small to us, but it means a lot to someone else. Just the smile, the way someone looks at you and smile and welcomes you, it is really important. And now that I'm in a social network, a social enterprise business, one of our things is impact, and our impact can only be measured through recognition. Okay, if people can go out there and say, okay, you have touched so many lives, you have brought light to so many people through solar light, you have helped so many mothers get light, that recognition is what drives the company. That's what drives our business model. So now I appreciate that, okay, it can be designed professionally and trained and nurtured and empowered. So I can't thank BNI enough for creating this space for me where I can exercise all these core values and these excellent models and practices and applying them in my day-to-day work and business. Yeah, so that's what I can say, Roy.
Jude, you mentioned that Diana uses this core value as though it's a personal value. She appreciates and says thank you, well done at every opportunity she finds. Yeah, and I would like to invite you, Diana, now to tell us, seeing this value that you've used as a tool. Back to my original question, from one member being yourself to over 150 members. Ochikolotia.
Oh God.
Dana, we can't still hear you. You might need to try again. Sorry about that. Just try again. I will still come back with that question because I really want to know the answer to that question. As we wait for Diana to come back, Christine, you did hint on something very interesting, and which was you getting into the specifics of how you recognize your team. And you talked about end of year parties. You talked about paying them on time. I would like to know, and not from you, from Asaf, as Diana gets back on, from Asaf, what tools do you use to recognize your team? And has it actually shown impact on their performance?
Yes, thanks so much again, Roy. There's really a lot, like Christine was elaborating. You can give incentives, at the end of every project. I will say this in line with my profession. Like I told you earlier on, after delivering a project, I gather my team and everyone walks away with either a package, and I avoid giving them money in terms of incentives. Why? They see that as if they've been earning the same currency, so when you add them another 100,000, it doesn't make change. But I go out and shop and wrap such incentives and hand over a package to individuals. That creates a sense of belonging into the company. And the next time you have another project, believe me, you will see extraordinary performance just because of recognition as a tool. The other thing, if for the staff that I have that are on, on my payroll, there is that salary increment in terms of, say, airtime, transportation, or sometimes you offer one of the company vehicles to pick them up, to bring them whenever it is raining. That also makes them feel, a belonging. They feel they are part of the company. Recently, after completing one of the projects that we did in Mbale, you can imagine, I always transfer these guys. So I put them in the truck and I took them to the market. And I told them, all of you, you have 60,000 to spend. And you can imagine what happened in the market. It was so crazy. Everyone came up with a Cavera. Others just bought, a lot of stuff. So that is something so motivational. That speaks into their lives, that there is a belonging they feel, so those are some of the tools that I use. Maybe my colleagues have, different ones, but, when employees are recognized, they become so happy. Much as, an appreciated leader, becomes a happy leader, and a recognized employee becomes so happy. Yeah. Thank you.
Fantastic. Jude, my question for you is going to be slightly different. Basing on what we've heard in regards to how to recognize, you notice that the majority of the forms of recognition have a monetary value. End of year party, spend. Pay on time, spend. Salary increment, spend. Airtime, transport, spend. My question to you then is there any other way we can recognize without specifically spending money that is of impact to our employees or our friends or family?
Yeah, so thank you. There are quite a number of ways, and it's true. If you start paying money and spending, someone will feel like they're entitled and that you're paying for their work, yet you just want to say thank you. Okay, so there are other tools. I like the metaphor of Asaf, of tools. What I can say on a day-to-day is to get involved. Okay, to get involved, get down to your people and be with them. For example, if it's an organization and I have my team I'm working with, you know, if I get out of my way to visit you, to speak to you, you know, imagine if you go to your gate man and you create some time and have a conversation with them, you see, they will feel that sense of being recognized. You don't have to part with a lot of money. It doesn't have to be a very expensive deed to do. Just walk down there from your swing chair and office, and come and talk to your people. Just get into their space, understand their day-to-day activities, what they go through in their lives, in their families. Trust me, they will really appreciate it. Okay, so the positive attitude is embedded into recognition. So if you want to you know, appreciate people, show them good energy, give them good energy, that is one tool you can use on a day-to-day to make your team function and work. That's what I can say.
I'm in total agreement with you, Jude. I believe strongly as well. Get involved, have a conversation with them, like you mentioned, give them good energy. And that is one of the tools that I use personally while running my mobile bar service. Many a time you find me with my bar staff, laughing with them, holding hands, having a conversation. And at the end of the day, they feel this is not the boss. Like many times we let people feel that he's the boss,
Let
is
me tell you one
untouchable.
thing. I like that you
Please.
mentioned that. Like in BNI itself, I don't know whether people want to come to the meetings every Friday morning, you know. But what I know, they want to have fun. They want to have a fun meeting. Okay. So if you come into a meeting with some good energy, some fun, you know, that is already, you know, a good thing. So you recognize people, talk about their names in a meeting, talk about them, you know, get them involved. And if you are doing it at your bar, you know, I know it works, because at the end of the day we want our names to be mentioned. And yeah, thank you. You bring it up so well.
Awesome.
That example.
Diana, do you want to do a quick mic check so we know you?
It should work.
Yes, it's working. Please, Diana, going back to my first question for you. Yeah, I still want to know the journey of 1 to 150. So please proceed and share how recognition as a tool.
Thank you. So interestingly, when I joined BNI, I think I ranked lowest in recognition as a strong value. Why? Because I come from a family of very strong-minded people. And what happens in my family is you're expected to do what you're expected to do. You're expected to do the right thing. So my father used to put us in front of the Makerere University main gate and say, of course, you know, when you go to university, not because he had the money to pay, but because he said somebody is going to come from Karamoja and enter this gate. Now you, who has had a chance to live on this hill, how can you fail to enter? So my natural DNA is that you get up in the morning, you know what you're supposed to do, and you go and do it. You don't look around for people to give you a pat on the back and get it done. So that is the narrow, you know, the marrow with which I joined BNI. And then I come and embrace this value of recognition. And Ivan Meisner once simplified it for me. He said, recognition is all about catching people doing the right thing. So what do I do and how did recognition help me? You know, I just don't see, I honestly don't see what people do wrong, because I learned that people don't do the things they don't do, largely, one, because they don't know that they're supposed to do it. Two, they don't know what, okay, they know they're supposed to do something, but what exactly? And they don't know how exactly should I make it work? You know, how should I start? How shall I know at the end that I've actually done it? So my glasses, the glasses that I look out at the world with, I'll say rose tinted. I catch people doing the right thing, and it makes every day an easy day, simply because there's always someone doing the right thing. Even the person doing the wrong thing many times will do one right thing. So I just have to catch that. My personal, you know, change really came out and really evolved when in BNI, I started also receiving recognition. When I started that journey in 2015, really I started in 2014, getting people, putting them together. It helped that I was not very strong at recognition, because there was honestly nobody to tell me, you know, you're doing a great job, this is going to work out. No, there was nobody. It was me just single-mindedly making my way up to the, let's say, Makerere main gate. Say, I have to get through this gate, I'll do what I have to get to. So when I join and we start the first chapter, and then we start seeing members coming on board and lives changing, it was really exciting for me. And the recognition for me was in the fact that I honestly have nothing to do with a lot of the success that members in BNI experience. So imagine you have a front seat view to the best experience, which is people helping each other in a positive space, building relationships daily. So recognizing for me that I'm a very small part of the big wheel that makes BNI Uganda enabled me to actually just keep doing the right thing. You know, things my family has always taught me, to live by my truth, to stand and speak the truth where I need to speak the truth, and to follow my heart, to follow my passion, to live true to my values, and to be consistent. So what happens at the global scale, Uganda begins to be recognized for doing the right thing. And I just have one small example. So what happens in BNI, we have a policy where members are supposed to be present during the meetings, which are where the members educate other members about their business. So one of the policies is that in every 6 months rolling period, members are expected to be present, and if they're absent for more than 4 times, and absent means they don't have another person stepping into their shoes to attend a meeting for them, they're asked to leave BNI, they're discontinued, and every member signs up for it. Now, personally, because I knew that that was the right thing to do, consistently, when I saw a member getting to that point, I had conversations with the leaders, I had conversations with the members, and by the time it came to, you know, to saying bye, there was no conflict. It was clear where we all stood. Now, I found out that on the global scale, it's not always like that. In some places, you find people who've been absent for more than 4 times, more than 10 times, and they're on the books. So Uganda began to be recognized for those small things, you know, for really being true to what the BNI values are when you talk about accountability, when you talk about building relationships in terms of being present. And our country flag, you know, used to come up on the national director calls, and they'd be like Uganda. And of course, but like, which country is that? You know, where is that? And for me, it really gave me that excitement that a small country in the middle of East Africa is making a difference, is showing up, you know, strong on the national, you know, platform, where we have over 70 countries with people who've had BNI for over 35 years. So subsequently, this year, Uganda again was recognized, and again on a national platform. And it reaffirmed that for me, you know, that recognition is really catching people doing the right thing. We try to do the right thing consistently. And one of the things that helps me to keep doing the right thing is because I know so many of you are watching, and so many of you know the truth, and so many of you know the answers. There are some people who are now walking dictionaries of Ivan Meisner. They can quote, you know, on this day, on this year, he said this. So I always tell myself I have even now a higher standard to live up to. And so for me, because I know that recognition is about catching people doing the right thing, I'm always looking for the right things that people are doing. But secondly, I'm always doing the right thing so that I am caught doing the right thing. And I have no, you know, no excuses, and I can stand up to that truth. Thank you.
Wow. I like that last bit you ended with, catching people doing the right thing and also making sure you do the right thing as well. So you're caught, yeah? And I think I think Diana is just being a bit humble at times when she says recognition. I guess it's because by the time I joined, I found a person that recognizes even for things that you may not have done. For example, every time our chapter gets a new member, I personally get a message from Diana saying, thank you, well done. And half of the time I am looking both sides because maybe I didn't have so much to do with it, but here I am being recognized for it. So I take the same energy back to the group, and it's great. So indeed, recognition is a great tool. There's a statement you mentioned, Diana, which was, I don't see what people do wrong. And I think if you went with that mentality, looking out for the good in people, it will change the way we do business. With that question, I'm going to, sorry, that statement, I'm going to ask each one of you to share with me a person in BNI that you believe embodies this value. One person in BNI, starting with you, Christine.
Thank you, Roy. Before I share that one person, I wanted to share with you something that really touches my heart, because what I do, the tool I use for my staff, I told you the caliber of people I work with,
Yeah.
and they're 150,000 a month. I think you people, you can't imagine that there's someone who earns that and they have a family and they have children and they go to school and they have rent to pay. But one of the things which I do, because I really feel for them, Christmas, I do packages like Asaf said, and I wanted to share what I put in, but you don't know what it means. I put 5 kilos of posho. This is now Christmas sale, because now this is Christmas. But it's so great. I put 5 kilograms of posho. I put 5 kilograms of rice. I put 3 kilograms of nuts and 3 kilograms of sugar. And of course, nuts, we take them, they grind it and it's powdered. And I give it to them, and we wrap and we put in Tavera and we give, and they are up country, some are in Kasese, some are in Barara, some we pack, like we send sacks and sacks of portion, we put in Guveras and give hampers. You don't want to know what it means. They can call, even they will look for airtime to call and say, thank you, madam, for this. Because, the family is going to, you are sure that the family is going to take porridge, they have sugar, they're going to eat a meal, and it's the only thing you can be sure that that's their Christmas. And very many people would not think at first, like, how is that possible? I would load my car when I'm going to Mbarara. We have a site in Coca-Cola Mbarara, and they are all those packages. When I'm going for Christmas, I will take for those ones. And I stop and offload. They are waiting for me. Madam, are you passing by? Will you, this time, are you coming for Christmas? Why they are waiting for this? But it motivates them. Apart on the award, another share, something I wanted to share, like what Diana mentioned, looking out for something good. One person, I had one supervisor who was, I should say, the worst, but I purposed and went and worked with her, kept telling her, do this, do this. When she picked up, she realized we were recognizing her. She took over. To date, she is the best. We get no complaint from her side as a supervisor. So recognition is very, very key. The person I can mention in BNI is Diana, because she knows also how to call me and say, encourage me. I think you're really outstanding. Thank you, Roy. Back to you.
Very great. I can take it away also as Roy, whatever connects again. But what I want to say about the person really whom I look forward up to, if you don't want me to mention what you have mentioned, whom we have mentioned, Christine already, let me just mention someone else. But obviously, I give it up to you, Diana. But I want to mention Mr. Roderick Kakuba. He is not just recognized by efforts, but he also practices it. He means it. He goes out of his way. He has supported me, he has supported the business, he has given me referrals, he has pushed my energy. I did a one-to-one with him those first days when we were just trying to when I just joined BNI and we were trying to have a lot of expectation, putting a lot of things together, but all he could see were those good strengths in in me, and he could tell me, and when you visit him, he still tells you the thing, and even goes out of his way to support you and support the business and give you referrals. So I want to give it up to Roderick Kakuva, and Merry Christmas to you, if that's what you wanted, Roy. So I think I'll pass it on now to Asaf to tell us.
Thank you so much, Jude. Definitely, like any other person has said, my first appreciation certificate in, I think, after school came from Diana. So I really appreciate you so much. You know, it is not so common in our business world to be appreciated. So, but a few people that I appreciate in BNI, in our Sunrise chapter, is Dr. Barbara of Victorious Educational Services. She appreciated me even before starting to do her job. You can imagine. She had that confidence that I will deliver. So she appreciated and said, I know you will do this. So of course she had other contractors on board, but she did that for me. And she gave me a project, I delivered. She even wrote a testimonial before I handed over. So you can imagine. She practices recognition to that dot. Yeah, thank you. Back to you, Roy.
Thank you. Thank you. Apologies, I dropped off for a bit, but I'm back. Diana?
Yeah,
thank you. Share?
So I'm going to answer one of the previous questions, which was, how do you encourage recognition and nurture recognition in other people? And one of the things that I will say, because it's related to the person who I want to recognize, it's to really see people. To really see people with and see the potential they have in them, and see, you know, the power that they have in them to change things, to create new things, to make things better. And I always say that because the person I'm recognizing is Patrick Ngolove. When I was a very young lawyer doing a placement with Uganda breweries, I walked up to him and I asked for his help. And he looked me right in the eye and said, yes, I'll definitely help. It did not take him too much thought. He didn't be like, is it going to cost me time? What will it mean? You know, who's this? Can I, you know, what is she going to be in the future? Am I going to contribute? You know, is she going to be beneficial to have as somebody in my life? So he saw me, he really saw me, and he walked with me, and that the conversations that we had enabled me to make decisions that that have led me to where I am today. But why am I recognizing him as somebody who recognizes people? So when I support Integrity Chapter, one of the chapters in Uganda, and when Patrick became the vice president of the chapter, all of a sudden they started giving people trophies. They said, no, it's not enough. It's not enough to recognize people just by giving them, you know, a certificate. So Asaf, you know, certificates, they were like, no, we have to up this game. We have to buy gifts. We have to show really that we recognize you. And what did it change for me? You know, sometimes it is so easy to say thank you, to say I recognize you, to say I see you, but then sometimes you have to do, you know, you have to action. And I love how Christine has talked about the effort that she puts into thinking, you know, these people are going to be at home. My team is going to be at home. They need to eat breakfast. They need to eat some good lunch. They need to eat, you know, some supper. I must make sure in this 7 days or the Christmas season to New Year's, they are covered. Yeah. So many times it's recognition. It's good to say, no, I see you, I give you, but also bringing it out and really, you know, how you honor a king. How would you honor a king? If a king invited you to his castle or to his palace, you go bearing gifts and, you know, with honor, and that reinforced in me that, you know, when I'm meeting Jude, when I'm meeting Roy, when I'm meeting Arthur, it's with honor. I must approach you. I must embrace your royalty, your leadership, the leader in you, not just, oh, well done, good job. Yeah, I must embrace the potential in you. And he did that by honoring. He said, no, let's lift up the game. Let's give people awards and trophies. And that for me was a game changer. And that's how I try to recognize people really from a place of honor, and not just, well done, good job. Yeah, I'm trying. This year, for the first time, I gave some of the leaders gifts, and for the leadership teams, material. So I'm coming to a place of where I know I must continuously grow in my acknowledging the leaders, the leadership in other people, and honoring it. Thanks.
Wow, wonderful. Roy? Then I want to also say thank you for my gifts.
That's just hiring that you.
Okay.
Let's get so no.
Okay. Okay, so I think we can hear from our people, attendees on the call.
Jude, I'd like to show both recognition in BNI.
Okay. Diana, can you hear me? I just want to see.
Hello, Jude, can you hear me?
Roy, I think you have to just switch off your video and then to stabilize your audio. Okay.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead, Roy. Yes, Roy, you can hear
me.
Huh? Yeah, it's Q&A time, I think. So the conversation is open to the public attendees.
Okay, yes, fantastic. It's Q&A time. So like any of the panelists to answer, the time is now. We have minutes before close. So do share Q&A, ask your question, and we will read them out. Jude, are there any questions?
Yes, I can see. Just unmute, kindly unmute my President Emeritus. I can see the hand up.
Hi, Jude. Hi, Dana. Hi, Christine.
Hi,
hi,
Diana, Asaf, Christine. I greet you all.
Thank you. Please go ahead if you want to share something, contribute to the webinar and the conversation.
Sorry.
Please go ahead.
I posted my contribution in the chat.
Well, thank you. And well, so thank you, and I can read it. I really like it. Recognition is like being in a crowd, and then someone calls upon your name and say, "I'm seeing you. You're doing a good job." That's a contribution from Arthur. Thank you very much, and I really agree with you. I think that's purely it. That's basically it. We are open to more questions. If you have any in comments, contributions, any experiences, how you've been recognized, and how it has impacted on your life, and how you have recognized others. I'm excited to learn. But yes, I'm seeing comments on the chat. From Roderick, thank you. It's good to have you here. From Patrick, it's really good. Well, as we wait for the questions, you can help Roy and take us around, still starting with Christine.
Hi, Jude.
Yes, Patrick, go ahead.
humbled, as I'm surprised. Thank you, Diana, for that recognition. And for me, really, recognition is an art of worship. And so I take it to that level. It's an art for me to honor my God. So when I see the best in people, and I choose to tag along with them. It's purely for me an art of worship. You may not find me on the streets lifting up holy hands, but I'll be there with Jude and Arthur and a few people. So to me, I look at recognition as the highest art of worship. To your God. So that's so close and so dear to my heart.
Wow. Jude, am I back?
Yes,
I hope you can hear me now. Okay. I'm just happy with the different forms of defining recognition within BNI, from honoring a king to the art of worship. These are powerful statements that simply show us how important and how valuable recognition is. Is there anyone else with a question or a contribution they would like to share? Just a reminder, we have 10 minutes before close. So anyone else that has anything to share? Are there any comments from Facebook as well, Jude?
Not really. And apologies, we were not able to go live on Facebook, but it's going to be posted as a premiere immediately after this webinar.
Okay.
No, we're not on Facebook.
Great. With Primrose says, Robert McNamara said, brains are like hearts. They go where they are appreciated, which is 100% true. Kakuba says, thank you, Jude, for recognizing. Oh, he thanks you for recognizing him. And just like Patrick, he is totally humbled. Fantastic, fantastic. Arthur says, recognition is like noticing someone in the crowd and telling him or her that I can see you. You are exceptional and I appreciate you. Well done. It makes a huge difference. Fantastic. Those are words that I feel we should use all the time. Yeah, thank you, Arthur, for that. It's very clear and it describes recognition in summary. Fantastic. Primrose, that's a great value, Diana, seeing the good in people. Yeah. So there are fantastic comments out here. Anyone who has anything else that they would like to share, please do it now as we come to a close of this session. Let's have those coming in as quickly as possible. Thank you very much, our panelists. You've been really fantastic and shared experiences. Yeah, and it's very, experiences bring to life most of these values. And that's one thing I've learned with BNI. I feel it's a family of people that have gone through different experiences. When we come together, we share. And that's what we've done today as we go through recognition as the final core value before we close the year. So Alexandra says, for me, recognition is like fueling your car to give it power to move on. Exactly. Fuel your car, give it power to move on. Fantastic. Thank you. Patrick, thank you for recognizing me here. He says, thank you for accepting to lead BNI Inspire. I don't know how to tell you that it was more of my dream than it was yours for me. So I appreciate more than you. I thank you so much. All right. As we close, allow me to just quickly, in exactly 1 minute, quickly go through the panelists again to give their final remarks on recognition. Yeah. So our final closing remarks on recognition, and I'll start with you, Christine.
Thank you, Roy. My final remarks on recognition is to say that recognition for us who are in business, it can actually grow your business, because the moment you recognize the staff, they become motivated, they become more productive, and their productivity goes high. And of course, once productivity rate is high, you know that there is productivity. Once there is that motivation, there is everyone that owns up, and they are doing things as if it's their own. Everyone does not wait for someone. They are all looking out for doing the best thing, and their great work comes out as a contribution to the team. And before you know it, you have a team that is self-motivated, that is self-driven, that is, and you can sit back and enjoy. Just recent example, I'll tell you, one of my managers slept in office doing a bid document. He offered to sleep in office and do a bid document. What do you call that? Self-motivation. And to me, he deserves to be recognized. Thank you. It is great. Otherwise, we could have missed it out. That's what I can give.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Asaf, your closing remarks.
Thanks so much, Roy. Of course, one of the other things that I would talk about is a verbal thank you. It can be a handshake. It can be a written note to recognize someone's effort. It doesn't take rocket science, really, to practice recognition. So it's a tool that business leaders need to embrace to change the way the world does business. Thank you so much, Joe.
Fantastic.
Roy. Yeah.
Well stated. It doesn't have to be anything outside just a basic thank you or a written note. Thank you very much. Jude.
So what I can say, parting shot, is what I learned also from Diana. To ask these questions: whose story are you in? Who is telling a story? How you motivated their life? How you created an impact in their life? Whose story are you in, right? In my social entrepreneurship business, we have a metaphor we follow. It's called a BIB metaphor, where we put business, impact, and brand. So a social entrepreneur, I want to rise on the big brands, and those brands help me to shout out my impact, and then I get recognized. That's how I continue in business. So so I've learned a lot of things that we can also cultivate the core value of recognition, and I mean use it to apply it in our day-to-day business models, and it will work for us. For example, things like notable network awards, global convention awards. I don't know, Diana didn't carry her trophies, but she has trophies. Those are all nice things we can learn about and apply them in our day-to-day business. But it is not too late for us to create an impact in someone's life by just saying, recognizing them and putting a spotlight on those people whom we catch doing the right thing, just like you, Roy Tumizere. Thank you very much for hosting us on this call today. And thank you, Diana, for putting it together.
Much, Roy.
Thank you. I like that statement. Whose story are you in? Very important to be part of a story, a success story. Diana, let's hear from you.
Thank you, Roy, for this webinar. Thank you, Jude, for taking us through all the webinars of this year, this 2020. And thank you to my co-panelists and to everyone who has attended. It's a commitment to be here on such an exciting Friday with so many things happening in Kampala. My takeaway really, as I listened to myself, is that we can embrace values and leave them out. I honestly was never strong on recognition, but hearing that small messages I send out, and many times at very interesting hours of the morning or night, reach, and connect. It has taken me back to the drawing board and say, where do I need to sharpen myself on other values that I need to embrace and own. But most importantly, for me, recognition is tied very closely with accountability. First, I must do what I say I'm going to do when I say I'm going to do it. and then I must, you know, someone will catch me doing something right. So it doesn't start with waiting to be recognized and then doing the right thing. It starts with doing the right thing, and then the recognition follows very swiftly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, panelists. It's been great going through this webinar with you. Just so you know, it's the first webinar I have done in my life. So I am excited to have been selected and asked to run this. Thank you everyone who's been with us on this call, on this webinar. It's been fantastic. A few things that I've picked personally from this and I'll not forget is recognition simply is honoring a king. It's the art of worship. It's asking the question, whose story are you in? It's getting involved. There's a lot of stuff we've gone through today that I see is powerful information that we need to keep using. Yes. And as I close, I would like to read the last two messages I saw come in. One from Edida that says, what you focus on expands. Once you focus on positive, they expand. Focus on the negatives and you'll see more of that as well. And lastly, from Patrick, who says, Jude, you have been phenomenal since we took on online sessions. I recognize you, sir. Well done, Jude. And now we come to the close. I ask you all to enjoy the festive season. Amidst Corona and COVID and all it has done, let us still find space within our hearts, within our families, to enjoy and also recognize them. I mean, my children today morning reminded me, Daddy, we've been good. Are you going to give us anything? So I guess they're asking me to recognize them this for the year. So go do the same, enjoy the holiday, and Merry Christmas, BNI.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Merry Christmas,
everybody.
Thank you, Roy. You have done very well. Thank you,
Diana.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you, Dana. Bye. I love you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Dana.
Bye.